All right, greetings. Welcome back to Blackbird News, where everything is connected. How are y'all doing? Good to see you. Thanks for joining me every day on these interwebs. Yeah, I know. I posted the show kind of late, so probably not everybody got the notification, or maybe nobody got the notification. But anyways, there's people here. We're live on Rockfan, YouTube, Callin, and on Twitter. And we got people listening in on all platforms at the moment. So thanks for hanging out. I appreciate you. Excuse me. Okay, so one announcement before I start the show. And I reserve the right to change this back at any time, but the new official time for the show is going to be 2 p.m. Pacific Daylight Time, or Pacific Time. Now we're not in Daylight Time anymore. Pacific Standard Time. So 2 p.m. is going to be the new time. So every day, 2 p.m. I think, because I've been changing the time too much of the show. I know it's been like 12 some days and 1 or 2 some other days, or, it's been kind of all over the place, and I apologize for that. But I think I would like to do, I think 2 p.m. I can do that like every single day and be consistent, and that's what I would like to do, is have a consistent start time. So tomorrow, oh shoot, you know what, actually, now I'm just going to have to change my mind all of a sudden just right when I'm saying this. Okay. Let me walk that back. I thought it was going to be 2 p.m. Maybe it'll be 1 p.m. All right. You know what, guys? Scratch that, reverse that. I'll come back and give you an official time tomorrow. Or maybe I'm just going to have to keep changing the time. I don't know. My schedule is like so all over the place. I came to the show thinking like, yeah, I got this time. I got this new time. And I just realized tomorrow, 2 o'clock is going to be really bad. 2 o'clock is going to be incredibly bad tomorrow. So I don't know, unless I just don't do the show tomorrow. And that won't work. So tomorrow will be 12 p.m. as usual. So, okay. It only takes that long to change your mind and then change it back. Scratch that, reverse that. Let's get into it, okay? Yeah, aren't you? I'm confused. Tomorrow will be noon. I don't know what we're going to do. I don't know what I'm going to do. I can't keep doing the show at noon every day. But my schedule is just so incredibly bad. Unless I do the show at like 5 p.m. But even that won't work tomorrow. So I'm trying to think of a time I can do it every single day that'll be consistent. All right. Noon tomorrow. Holding Biden accountable posts this. U.S. is quietly sending Israel more ammunition and missiles. This is a headline. Supplying shells for Apache gunships, bunker buster munitions, arms arrive on a nearly daily basis Defense Department says. And Holding Biden Accountable says if Biden thinks he's truly on the side of justice and righteousness, why is he being so secretive about what he's doing? Is it because he knows what he's doing is an abomination? Jimmy Dore reposts Jacob Kornbluh, who's reposting this from Mike Johnson. The calls for a ceasefire are outrageous, prompting a crowd to chant no ceasefire. Jimmy Dore says this sounds like Hitler getting people worked up into a frenzy to go kill Jews and establish a master race. Except it's Jews doing the genociding to establish the superiority of their own ethnicity and ethnostate. The parallels are striking and undeniable. And that's true. And you know what sucks? This is just prompting people to feel more division, hatred, suspicion, right? Of either, Muslims, Arabs, or Jewish people. CNN's Van Jones says, let's stand against the Muslims. I feel like it's from the same rally. And Jake Shields says it's amazing how openly racist and bigoted people are against Muslims. And it really sucks. I mean, even the other day, I passed like two guys hanging out. I was driving past the Hollywood sign in LA. Two Jewish guys hanging out on the side of the road with like Israeli flags, flying from their car. And I just had the biggest urge to just be like, to flip them the bird and just be like, fuck off. And like, that made me feel really incredibly weird because I was like, maybe they don't support what's going on. Maybe that's creating a thing in me where I'm just like, screw these people, but that's not how I feel, right? That's not how I feel. I feel like the state of Israel is incredibly fascistic and apartheid. Not how, there are so many Jewish people here in the U.S. and everywhere, and even in Israel, who don't support what's going on. But it's creating a thing in people where it's creating divisions. It's making people get angry. And this is horrible. It's a horrible, that was my reaction. I saw my reaction as being like, well, that's terrible. That's a terrible way to feel. But just in the moment, I was just like, Arr. When I didn't even know who these people were at all. And let's all try and and guard ourselves against those kinds of feelings. But obviously, there's a large Jewish community in Los Angeles, and I'm sure they feel all kinds of ways. But if you're supporting this, what are you supporting? Forcing climate info. Yeah, I saw that. I saw that thing that Jimmy Dore did about climate change. It was interesting that he was reading a Cory Morningstar article. And I actually thought the article was quite good. I don't know. I thought it was an okay take. Again, my problem with people who read Cory Morningstar or take her message to mean that climate change isn't actually a thing, right? Obviously, the scam is that they're getting you to buy into the fake fix, right? That is ultimately going to be hurting the climate as well. But in general, people come away from Cory Morningstar or being in contact with people who like Cory Morningstar. they come away with this like, yeah, climate change is just a hoax. That's not what she's saying. That's not what Jimmy Dore was saying. So if that's what you came away with, you didn't listen and you didn't read. And if you're, I've heard people so many times say, "Oh, Cory Morningstar, yeah, she's great, she's awesome. Yeah, I think this climate change thing is not really real." Okay, that's not what she said. You didn't read it. So go back and read the article that she wrote. Go back and listen to the Jimmy Dore thing that he said, because the take was climate change is real. The answer to it is a scam. That's real. That's right on the money. And we all know that. And all the climate communicators who understand that climate change is a real thing and a very, and a thing that's coming our way soon and is not going to be pretty, and understand that all these techno utopian answers to it are not real answers and fake answers. You all know that. You already know that. You already know that. You already know that Teslas and solar panels and windmills and carbon capture are not going to be the answers to climate change. Right. That's exactly what Jimmy Dore said. He said, he's like, I'm guessing climate change is probably real. It's these fixes that are fake. So that's a nuanced position. That should be what you take away. When you read Cory Morningstar or listen to Jimmy Dore or somebody else, that's what you should take away from it. Okay, the fixes are the scams. The answer is wrong. And climate-aware people already know this. Climate-aware people. But if you're not aware that climate change is actually a real thing, maybe you should go do a little studying. Maybe you should go dig up more information on the thing that you automatically knee-jerkingly think, oh, it's a hoax. It's not real because these guys are into green tech. No, that's not the story. You got to dig a little deeper. Steve Austin says, quite possibly the most appropriate disposal of cars I've ever seen. It's a car sinks into a sinkhole in India. A sinkhole is a depression or a hole in the ground caused by some form of collapse of the surface layer. They capture surface drainage from running or standing water. This car sinks within seconds in Mumbai's Ghatkopar area. Yeah, I don't know about billions of cars going into the earth. I don't know if that's good. I don't know if that's the greatest disposal of cars. So more from what seems to be the answer from the pundit class, the professional pundit class, the mainstream media punditry, and also the political class. What seems to be the answer to people being against what's going on in Gaza? Oh, well, maybe this is a good time to ramp up surveillance of social media. Maybe this is a good time to clamp down on hate speech, right? Because, you guys don't want people to be killed. That's obviously hate speech. Obviously not wanting death and destruction and wanting people to be bombed into oblivion. Obviously, that's a hateful position. So we have to do something about that. That seems to be that's the answer. Not like, oh, yeah, no, yeah, we shouldn't do that. Oh, yeah, no, what they're doing that's horrific. Oh, my God. Oh, yeah, no. The answer is let's clamp down on what people are saying online. Let's pick up where we left off in COVID land, and let's go forward with this whole I don't know what you want to call it, social credit thing. Again from Jimmy Dore, here it comes, Democrats and Republicans. The billionaire-controlled Uniparty is taking complete control. This is mental, but it's real, and it's coming sooner than you think. As soon as there is a terrorist attack inside the United States, a false flag, or a real attack, or a little of both, they will have most of the country begging for something like this. This is Nikki Haley. She says every person on social media should be verified by their name because of national security. Yeah, because we want to be able to get you if you're talking the hate speech, and if you're inciting violence because of the hate speech that you're talking. The hate speech being, geez, would you quit bombing these people because this is disgusting. You're inciting anti-Semitism and hate speech by saying such a thing. How dare you? We're going to have the ability to come arrest you or something, right? Or knock on your door. Ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. Glenn Greenwald, commenting on the same clip, in the same interview, she said something about the allowing people to post on social media anonymously is a national security threat. She promises that as president, she will force every person on social media to be verified by their name. I'm no lawyer, but isn't this blatantly unconstitutional? Free speech includes anonymous speech. It does. And Glenn Greenwald says the Federalist Papers were written by founding fathers using pseudonyms. And it's also a point of privacy to be able to be anonymous and be able to think things anonymously or write things anonymously or pseudonymously. Is that, I don't know if that's right. I guess that's right. Pseudonymously. It's hard to say. Nikki Haley may be one of the most warmongering and authoritarian candidates for president in some time. She's completely unhinged. This is blatantly unconstitutional. Should we listen to this real quick?
Social media accounts, social media companies, they have to show America their algorithms. Let us see why they're pushing what they're pushing. The second thing is every person on social media should be verified by their name. That's, first of all, it's a national security threat. When you do that, all of a sudden people have to stand by what they say, and it gets rid of the Russian bots, the Iranian bots, and the Chinese bots. And then you're going to get some civility when people know their name is next to what they say.
Accountability.
And they know their pastor and their family member is going to see it. It's going to help our kids, and it's going to help our country. When I get into office,
well, the push for verification is already happening. It's already happening on Twitter, on Instagram, on Facebook, right? They're on... But the way they're doing it is like, don't you want to be verified? Because it'll be better for your account if you're verified. You'll be able to make money or post, you'll get more views or something. Don't you want to be verified? I'm like, no way. I don't want to verify nothing, nowhere, no how, no way, no how. But right now they're making it optional. They're making it, they're making it seem like something like, yeah, get verified today and it'll help you out. But next week it'll be like, get verified if you want to continue using your account. Oh, I want to continue using my account, but I don't want to do the thing. Shoot, what do I do? Peter Dines posts, this is a BFD. Feels like temps 58.5 C in springtime Brazil. It's springtime for Hitler in Israel. I thought that was funny. It is in a way. What is that? That's 137 degrees. 137 is the feels like. Jesus. Hold on, going back to this. So it's the actual temperature is 42.5 C plus humidity in springtime Brazil. A third consecutive month of historic heat waves. How will the Earth's lungs survive decades of this new climate? Mitigation is urgent or ecological life support fails. Here, let's try this. So 42.5 is 108 degrees, which is still pretty cooking. Yeah, you know, they really actually got a lot of people to do the verifying on Twitter for whatever reason, but I am not going to do it. I'm not doing it. Have you heard this? Okay, so you know, we're just going all over the place today. I mean, as usual, we're just walking down the road. There's been a theory about Woody Harrelson's father being a part of the JFK assassination. And here's RFK actually saying he was. Which is, I don't, you know, does that make it fact? But it's, you know, that theory has been out there, or that he was around Woody Harrelson's dad. So I don't know. There's also a thing about people that are like being in intelligence or you know, being in the intelligence community, having very famous offspring. Like Stuart Copeland's dad was in the CIA, and Jim Morrison's dad was in the Navy intelligence, and right, and on and on and on. Woody Harrelson's dad was in the CIA, or a CIA asset, or in the mob, or something like that. It's a weird coincidence, isn't it? Anyways, Woody Harrelson's dad was involved in the assassination, and he confessed multiple times. He was a professional hitman. He had been recruited out of the military, worked for the CIA, and then worked for the Carlos Marcello mob, and he died in maximum security prison for the murder of a federal judge. But he was a very, very interesting character, and he confessed at one time. But then he told Woody the story, which Woody told me. So is this verified from Woody Harrelson? Anyways. Isn't that interesting? All right. From something Poppy sent me yesterday, world behind on almost every policy required to cut carbon emissions, research finds. Every policy required to cut carbon emissions, research finds. We're not doing nothing about nothing. And lastly, something I didn't get a chance to cover yesterday. Biden is increasing funding for military forces to commit war crimes. Yes, the Geneva Convention bans tear gas against resisting civilians both here and in Palestine. Our struggles are linked because our oppression is linked. And he's retweeting this. U.S. police train in Israel, which is true. The tear gas used in Atlanta is the same used in the West Bank, where they were talking about Cop City, right? The fight against Cop City. The companies making weapons for police make weapons for the IDF, and they make weapons for the U.S. border control. Everything is connected. Just looking. Yeah, no, I think Woody Harrelson would be is a pretty interesting guy, pretty cool guy. But I think they just threw tear gas at the crowd. This is in Atlanta. Stop Cop City protests. All right, let's try and go back and look at this article about being behind. And okay, great. So, the world is behind on almost every policy required to cut carbon emissions, research finds. Coal must be phased out 7 times faster, deforestation reduced 4 times faster to avoid the worst impacts of climate breakdown, says the report. So, it's becoming pretty obvious that climate change is happening faster and faster. It's becoming pretty obvious that we're in deep trouble. It's becoming pretty obvious that we've reached all these guardrails that for a long time they were telling us we're like way far away, and here it is 2023 and we're like zooming past them. We're not looking back. And we're still increasing emissions. And we're still pumping oil and, digging coal out of the ground. And we're still doing everything about as fast as we can possibly do it. Coal must be phased out 7 times faster than is now happening. That's a lot of times. Deforestation must be reduced 4 times faster, and public transport around the world built out 6 times faster than at present. How much carbon is going to be required to build out something 6 times faster? Just a question. Here's the thing. Phasing out is one thing. Reducing deforestation is another thing. But building out something is not reducing. It's not drawing down anything. It's not degrowing or reducing anything. Building out is building out. Building out is how we got here. So no building out. And there won't be any building out anyways, right? I mean, they're doing it as fast as they can. I mean, in Los Angeles, they are building out. I mean, it's amazing how hard they're going. And, on some levels, I appreciate it. They're building trains. But along with all the trains they're building, they are expanding freeways. They're doing all kind of road construction. They're just, they're going ham as usual with the building. And if anybody knew anything about anything, we would stop the building immediately. We would just cease and desist with the building. I know a lot of carpenters and construction people would be out of work. Well, sorry for your luck, Jack. We're going to have to, I'd be out of work too. Okay. So, or if, oil stopped today, I'd be out of work. Okay. What would we do? I don't know. I think we'd have to get real busy growing food. We'd have to get real busy sitting still. We'd have to get real busy trying to help feed each other. Get real busy trying to take care of each other and figure out how to live life in a more balanced way with the planet. I think that's what we'd have to do. I know, saying stuff like, you're out of luck, Jack. I know that sounds real heartless and stuff, but the earth is going to be way more heartless when it comes to letting us know that we're out of time. The earth is going to be way more heartless than that. Just letting you know. And so, better to hear it from me and take notice than to hear it from get slapped by the hand of Mother Nature, because she's about to do some slapping. Countries are falling behind on almost every policy required to cut greenhouse gas emissions despite progress on renewable energy and the uptake of electric vehicles. Uptake. This failure makes the prospect of holding global temperatures to 1.5 C above pre-industrial levels even more remote. What are they talking about? We're at 1.5. What are you talking about? According to the State of the Climate Action 2023 report, the authors advise the world needs to retire about 240 average-sized coal-fired power plants a year. 240 power plants a year, every year, between now and 2030. I'm with it. I'm with that one. That one I can back. Construct the equivalent of 3 New York's worth of public transport systems in cities around the world each year this decade. That I'm sorry to say, no, is a no. That's a no. Because how many emissions, how much construction, how many emissions, how much environmental degradation are going to be required for that? The equivalent of 3 New York's worth of public transportation. No. Now, let's get creative with it. Let's use existing transportation for public transportation. Let's use existing things for public transportation. Right? I know, I'm crazy communist. Let's take away private transportation. Let's say no more private jets, no more airliners, no more private cars. We'll take, couple of school buses or city buses from here, and we'll run them from here to there for the next 10 years on the remainder of the gas that we're going to, we're going to have available. Nothing required for that, right? Nothing required. Just run the available buses on the available roads without doing any more construction of anything. You run the available trains on the available tracks without doing any construction of anything. That's how you do it. You get people riding the bikes, right? You get people, doing a lot of walking, doing a lot of riding of the bikes. You get people it's called, walking back down the ladder of consumption. And no, you don't get to do everything. You don't get to buy a Cybertruck. You don't get to buy an F-150. You don't get to buy anything. You don't get to buy it. You don't get to drive it. Let's see. We got so many cars on the road. Let's say there's every community will get a shared truck, or a shared bus, or a shared, one shared car. I mean, this doesn't have to be a top-down mandate. This could be something that people decide to do all on their own. Hey, let's conserve resources, and let's not, all willing ourselves anymore. Let's really take it down. What do we really need a car for? Not, when we're not going back and forth to work every day anymore. Oh man, it's raining. Sounds great. It's raining here. It's finally fall. We're getting some nice fall rain. Anyways, that's the thing, is like people need to think through the answers to these problems like in a real substantive way, and then lay it out just like I'm doing. Just things that I'm saying. And I know the problem is that a lot of people out there are like, oh my God, you're anti-human. You mean I can't drive my gas-powered vehicle anymore? Oh my God, this is so crazy. You're communist, and that sounds like communism. The thing is people are so absolutely, I mean, you're propagandized by, by the truth tellers as much as the liars. Right? All the truth tellers are telling you like, oh my God, they want to take away your stuff and take away your personal vehicle and not allow you to drive anymore. And they're crazy and they're communists and they're trying to, like, you're being propagandized into like thinking, well, this is the only way that we can live. This is the only way humans can organize themselves on the planet. We could totally do that. We could do all that and wouldn't be like, anyways, whatever. It's hard for people to think when the people they listen to for ideas don't really have that. Their ideas are really just not very advanced and also based on a misunderstanding of basic stuff. Basic, what is communism or what is socialism or what is, free market capitalism and like what, and these people have no experience of history or what life was like even 100 years ago. Like no idea whatsoever. Anyways, Jimmy Dore was saying, "Oh, the answers they're giving you to climate change is a scam." Okay, yeah, for sure. Stop listening to those people. Stop doing what they tell you is the thing to do, and start listening to the people who are like, "Oh, what we should do." Like people who have things that aren't profitable in any way, shape, or form, are not, not economically, a boon to the, to your economy or anybody else's economy. No. And at the same time, we could have life. We could sustain life. Might be a little more difficult. Again, consider everybody suddenly taking up an Amish lifestyle or something close to it. That's all it takes. You don't really have to imagine much. Just that. Okay, we don't use all the appliances. We don't use cars. We don't, we farm. We live off the land. That's it. That's the answer. That's the answer. That's all it is. It's very simple. It's a very simple answer. It just means you're not going to be able to do all the things. And that's not like crazy communism. No, it's just, that's called, I don't know, understanding what survival might mean on the planet. That's what it's called. Understanding actually how it works, the mechanisms by which we are destroying the planet and the mechanisms by which we could save the planet. But you can't use the mechanisms that destroyed the planet to save the planet. That's the thing that's misunderstood. Or if you don't understand that the planet is being destroyed, well, then you can't even understand. Then you can't, if you can't contemplate or comprehend the problem, then you're really SOL, because you're confused. You're one confused person. Anyways. Halt deforestation, which is happening into an area the size of, well, if we all lived like Amish people and we didn't buy all the things and drive all the cars and need to go to Target every day, then, yeah, deforestation would pretty much stop. If we weren't eating at McDonald's every day and driving our SUV to the gas station to fill it up and drive through McDonald's and go do the things, yeah, well, deforestation would pretty much stop immediately. Increase the rate of growth of solar and wind power from its current high of 14% a year to 24% a year. No. Wrong. Wrong. No. Cut meat consumption from ruminants such as cows and sheep to about 2 servings a week. All right, so that doesn't really matter, because they're saying like, well, if everybody is doing all the things and driving their SUV to the gas station to buy the thing and eat McDonald's, well, if we only eat McDonald's a couple times a week, then that'll surely help the climate. Nope. Wrong. Radical reorganization of how humans operate on the planet is what is needed. Radical reorganization. That's it. And I mean, how about some radical compassion? That's the thing, is like, it's not, who you want to kill first is continuing to do what we're doing. Anti-human is doing exactly what we're doing. Driving human beings into a brick wall that they don't even see coming at them. That's anti-human. That is the most destructive, bloodthirsty, uncaring, unfeeling, uncompassionate thing you could probably do, is go like, yeah, keep on going. That's the worst thing you could do. The most compassionate thing you could do is say, hey, man, we are destroying things hand over fist. Let's figure out how we can all like share and care, right? Share the things that we have left or the things that we've already built. You know, the things we built so many. We have so many megatons of stuff that we put into the world. We don't need to make any more clothes for anybody. No more clothes need to be made. No more bicycles need to be made. No more cars need to be made. Nothing else needs to be made. Probably no more phones need to be. Nothing needs to be made. We have everything made to get us through the next couple of years as we transition to living something more like an Amish. And we help each other through this transition. We actually truly help each other. And the government could actually truly help the people of the country. By bringing home the military troops and sending them out throughout the country with food, ways to get water, make sure everybody has a house to live in, right? An actual peacekeeping force. Or peace-giving, not even peacekeeping, peace-giving. A peace-giving force. Like, we're here to help you. We're not going to live this way anymore. Sorry for your luck. I know you're having a good time. I know it was really fun, super, super fun, but we're shutting everything down because we got to. And we're all going to live off the land. And I know it's hard. It's hard to grow food, but we're going to help you like build community and, get everybody growing food together and like figuring out how to like mend the things that we already made. It's not that hard. Anyways, prospect of staying within 1.5C has already slipped away. They're saying will slip away. It's gone. It is gone. So I don't know. There's not a lot. There's, this article in and of itself is somewhat misleading, or very misleading. Sorry. Anyway, so that's where we're at. Nothing in this article is really going to educate you very well. Sales of electric vehicles are booming, having more than tripled since 2020, but that is the only measure of the 42 indicator study that was found to be progressing at the rate needed to cut emissions by nearly half this decade, compared with the 1990 levels, which is required to give the world a chance. Jesus. Anyways, the gap, the real gap, as outlined by that article, is in understanding what the hell is even going on. Nobody knows what's going on. Nobody knows, anywhere close to the answer, because the answer has to fit inside of, remember the guy, William Nordhaus? It has to fit inside that economic, container. What about the economy? If it doesn't fit inside the economic container, it just doesn't make... I don't understand. What do you mean? No economy? There's not really going to be an economy? Yeah, that would be... Yeah, basically. The economy would be like, yo, I'm growing some corn over here, and I want to trade it for your, maybe one or two of your cows over there. Or, I'll trade it for some apples. Yeah, that would be the economy. Jazz Farm, good on you. Jazz Farm says, I'm already doing the work. No one wants to follow. Crickets. Good on you, man. Good on you. Yeah. I know. It's depressing. It's super depressing. Well, at the very least, just don't, I know when I describe the problem or the answers or anything in between, I know I'm being kind of harsh, and I know that the reality might be a little bit. And I guess the upshot is like, in the interim between now and whatever happens, like, do your best and enjoy yourself, right? Don't spend all your time. Don't fritter away, your precious time on this planet being anxious about this. It's going to happen, or it's not. We're going to figure it out, or we won't. A lot of indicators pointing to that we won't. So, like, why spend your time? Why spend your time? Everybody goes through the stages of grief, and I have also. You go through a lot of your time. I guess maybe I'm at the acceptance stage. You're gonna spend your time. You don't spend your time being angry or sad or staying up at nights looking at the ceiling. Like, just do your best. Don't try not to live like a jerk, and otherwise enjoy yourself. Enjoy your time. I really advise not living like a jerk. Not living like a jerk. Don't do that. Going back to this post from Peter Dines. So it's hot. It's hot in Brazil. We know that. Let's listen to Nikki Haley talking all that jazz. I really don't know how long this clip is, but on top of the fact that things are hard, right? I mean, everybody has to like negotiate and navigate this system that we live in, right? And you have to do your best, right? You don't. I don't advise people, and people have already done this numerous times. Like, people who understand the problem have already done this whole thing where they like, I'm gonna give up my job and like. When I say do your best, I mean do your best. Like, if you want to give up your job and go grow food and go live off the land, and like I think that is the highest thing you can do. Right? But don't, dropping out of society is really hard, right? Especially when everybody's doing something totally different. So try and pick your spots. Try and pick your spots where you can drop out little by little. There are many people that watch this show that are fully like off grid, and they've already left a lot of society behind. And man, kudos to you. And I have nothing but respect for people that can do that. But a lot of people, I've seen a lot of people, give up what their position in society and try and live outside of it. And it's not easy. Jazz Farm says, yes, Amish lifestyle without Jeebus. Totally there. Let's go. Yeah, man. So if you can get your neighbors, if you can grow your own food and you can get your neighbors to grow a little bit of food, and you guys can kind of slowly start getting off the teat, that can be one way. A lot of people have to do it all by themselves. And that's mostly how it's done. People take their families, they get out of the city, they go buy a farm, they get off, they go do the thing. I know tons of people, there are, lots of people that watch this show, and tons of people outside of the show that have no idea that I do the show are doing it. And that's cool. I think it's cool. Let's listen to scary, scary Nikki Haley.
Pushing what they're pushing. When I get into office, the first thing we have to do, social media accounts, social media companies, they have to show America their algorithms. Let us see why they're pushing what they're pushing. The second thing is every person on social media should be verified by their name. That's, first of all, it's a national security threat. When you do that, all of a sudden people have to stand by what they say, and it gets rid of the Russian bots, the Iranian bots, and
Did we already listen to this? We did. Sorry about that. We listened to this. My bad, guys. Let's listen to Van Jones say that we can't. We have to stand behind the. We have to fight against the Muslims. This is. I mean, Van Jones is all over the place. Sometimes he has good takes. Sometimes not so much.
Let's take a stand here against anti-Jewish bigotry. Let's take a stand against Muslims.
What?
Let's take a stand here against hatred. Let's take a stand here against hatred of all kinds. I don't want any Jewish mother. I do feel powerful is to maybe do something about what's happening here. Let's take a stand here against anti-Jewish bigotry. Let's take a stand against Muslims. Let's take a stand here.
What? Okay, he seems a little confused. Maybe he's having a hard time reading his speech or something. But he said, "Let's take a stand here against Muslims." Okay. Oh, okay. Let's stand against hatred. Let's stand against Muslims. Okay. William, give me 1 second, man. Let's listen to this one. Mike Johnson rallying the people to go get them, to go get them Gazans. No ceasefire is what they're yelling.
The calls for a ceasefire are outrageous.
Outrageous. Really? Are they? Are they outrageous? Look at this guy. This guy looks like Emilio Estevez. Is that who played the president in what's the Stephen King movie? Oh God, I can't remember it, the name of it. You know the Stephen King movie with Christopher Walken about the guy, the president, he like takes out the guy that's running for president because he has a vision of the future where he's going to use nukes. I don't know. Something about this guy reminds me of, or Martin. Oh, Martin Sheen. You're right. It was the dad. Okay. I thought it was Emilio Estevez. Martin Sheen played the president. You're right. What's the name of the movie, though? You're right. Anyways, he's giving me Martin Sheen vibes. Anybody? I got to go to Rockfin. Anybody? The Dead Zone. Thank you. Denver. Yeah, he just has that like scary thing going on.
The calls for a ceasefire are outrageous.
And that's it? That's all he has to say? Okay. No, Jesus wouldn't want a ceasefire. And absolutely hateful. If you're calling for a ceasefire, is, you're filled with hate. Hey, William, how you doing?
Yeah,
Yeah, I can hear you. How you doing?
good, good. Well, I put a couple links in the chat. Maybe we can talk about Friday. Dr. Henry Makow, PhD, lost two people in the Holocaust, or what's called the Holocaust, two parents, cites that Zionist bankers funded the Nazis. There's also evidence 1933 to 34, Goebbels, that's Joseph Goebbels, had a special German coin minted to celebrate Zionism and had a Star of David on one side and a swastika on the other side. Anyway, there's links in here. You might
Oh, that's
want to
weird.
check out.
Okay, yeah, I'll have to check those out. Yeah.
One, go ahead. Yeah.
No, it's all good.
There's a link I put in that I found on Yandex. It's been removed from YouTube video. Still in Yandex. Uncompromised Talk with Joe Atwill. It's basically the Masonic Zionist secret societies, and this talk is on decoding our fake history. Very interesting. It was
Yeah.
overwhelming amount of evidence I hadn't heard before. I'm still trying to sort it all out, but I just stumbled on that. Let's not forget 1961, JFK's speech on secret societies, the monolithic
right.
conspiracy, our true enemy, right? So these things are real.
Well,
And then,
you had that actually following Eisenhower. Wasn't it Eisenhower that spoke on the military-industrial complex?
yeah, congressional.
The
Don't forget the
congressional complex, right? Didn't it,
Right.
wait? And I feel like it was longer than that. Was it? It wasn't just military-industrial congressional. It wasn't.
Technological complex,
Yes,
I think. Yeah.
exactly. Like there was a whole bunch of things included there.
Interesting how history gets edited, right?
Right. Well, and I mean, yeah, you have these very prominent, you have presidents saying like, there's something that's going on here, and y'all, I'm against it, and y'all might want to look into it. And then, that was that.
Yeah.
Later on, that whole thing just kept on going and escalating. Speaking of removed videos, I had a video removed this morning.
Oh,
It was an old video though. It was weird. Like sometimes they'll just take down like really old videos of mine, and like they didn't give me a strike, which was great. They just were like, "Yeah, we took one of your videos down." And I was like, "Really?" And I think it was a video from like a long time ago, but
you remember? Can you mention the subject content? Or
I mean,
maybe
they
not?
said
It might be
we took it down for medical misinformation, and so I was like,
Oh, come on.
Yeah.
Oh my God. The
whatever, I mean,
disinformation.
it's whatever. It's
Yeah.
but it's just they keep on trying to mess with me.
Devin.
It's
Don't
easier
you
to
find
mess
that
with me
funny?
than anybody else. The bigger people on YouTube, right, can get. I don't know. It seems like, but they're taking down all kinds of people. Like I think Jackson Hinkle. Russell Brand is pretty big. They demonetized him. They didn't take him down, but I think Jackson Hinkle got demonetized. He's got a lot of followers. Yeah, they're really trying to clamp down. I think Jimmy Dore just skates by the hair on his chinny chin chin.
I think he's had some strikes. I think he's mentioned at times that certain videos got
Yeah,
struck
but
down.
he really tries to comply with some of
Yeah, he
the
does.
things that they ask of him, require him to do in order to not get a strike. So he's careful in that way, I guess. But
Oh, the tongue-in-cheek disclaimers. We hear it. We know what he's doing
yeah,
and why.
yeah. So
You'll have Dr. Pierre Corian. He just had him on again on the ivermectin issue, and then he had to cite all the disclaimers about as he was
Right.
right on the heels of, and everybody knows what he's doing. But at least he gets the word out by doing that. I guess that's a positive. We all know why he does it. But
I mean,
I want to
I
mention
see,
one-
I see the validity in trying to keep your show going on certain platforms. It's a fine line, right? Because if you're, if you do end up like censoring yourself to remain on a platform, then what's the point?
exactly.
Then you're not really talking about anything. But although I see some people actually doing quite a bit of like, I don't know how to phrase it, not code switching, but like obfuscating what they're talking about by changing up the words, right? And that's been a thing that's been going on, right? So they won't actually talk about the thing. They'll talk about it using another descriptor or using, there are several code words out there for different subjects, right? Or they'll spell out the thing that they're talking about and not actually say the word, and so, like, I see very interesting ways that people get around that kind of stuff. But like,
Can I mention a couple of quick things before you run? You're absolutely right. There's a guy, Israeli News I mentioned, but it's Israeli News Live. Otherwise you'll just find all kinds of Israeli News videos. Israeli News Live, and he introduces things. If he can talk about it on YouTube, he will. If he needs to, he'll start his video and then say, "Okay, we're going to go over to this other platform." He gives a link. That's something we see people do. Like you do. You say,
and
"Okay,
I do that. I do that once in a while. I've been trying to just kind of. I don't know. I'm just trying to use my discernment, but I can't really tell because I think that I think most of the time I do. It's just sometimes I'll get off onto a conversation about something and I won't realize I'm trying to make a point, and then I'll, in order for me to make a point, I actually have to say the things I have to say.
Sure.
And then, I get down a road and I wonder, like, okay, dude, how far have I gone? But like. Luckily though, I have one strike on my channel, and it's falling off in December. So I'm going to try and be careful so that the strike falls off in December, and I'll be back to a clean slate. But they have not demonetized me yet, even though they have demonetized me by destroying my views and my view count, and by misreporting the number of viewers and views that I have. That's how they demonetize me. But it's just, anyways, that's all I'll say about that. Hey man, I gotta take off, William. Did you have
one last comment?
Yeah.
One last comment.
Yeah.
Appreciate what you're doing. You don't want to drop into that Mad Hatter rabbit hole like summary default judgment or summary judgment like happens in court. But the coal power plant permits for India and China, check that out. They got a plan to build a whole lot more.
Oh, yeah. They're going full. I mean,
Yep.
Look, you can't, even if you're like, we're gonna power the world with clean energy, right? Like, let's say you're just on that train, and I would be on that train if I believed in it. If there was some scientific, if there was something behind it that. Whoa, that was crazy. Just heard like a explosion. Anyways, yeah, if there was something, that I could kind of like get into with that didn't not make sense. But it doesn't make sense, right, to burn a bunch of oil and coal to make the things that are supposed to make a clean world, right? We're already way past all the guardrails, or a lot of the guardrails that they told us were, in 2050. So they're not in 2050. They're right now. So it's like, what are you talking about? So yeah, India and China are planning on building out all these coal plants in order to fuel, the future that somehow is going to be, much brighter and cleaner than it is. But you're going to dump a bunch of junk into, and not to mention the mining.
Oh yeah. And that's manufacturing that's been outsourced from America, a lot of it. Let's not forget. It's not like they're our enemy,
Right. No, they're making the stuff that we need to feel good about ourselves. But it's like, hey, part of the thing, that Jimmy Dore thing where he was reading Cory Morningstar, I was actually a little bit like, wow, really? You're reading Cory Morningstar. Okay, interesting. But one of the really great lines in the article that he read was, that, just really succinctly said something like the answers they're giving us are going to do more damage to a world that's already been ravaged by climate destruction, right? Ecological destruction. So the plan is to do more ecological destruction in order to save the world from ecological destruction, which is exactly what I just read in that article about, building out. We're going to build out all these things that are supposed to save us from all the things we built out already. So anyways. You think Morningstar is compromised, Tim Bob? Are you being funny, or do you really think that? I'm just responding to a comment here. Compromised by who? By oil companies? Or by one side against the other? I don't know. One consortium against another consortium? I don't know.
Yeah. Okay.
Yo.
When you're ready.
Hey man, I gotta take off, William. I gotta end the show, guys. I gotta move on to some other things. But thanks, man. Thanks for calling in.
Thank you. I know.
Oh, compromised by ego. Maybe. I don't know. I mean, there's some people that do really good work, and then they get to the climate change thing, and I don't really like. Whitney Webb originally was I think, many years ago was interested in climate change and or ecological destruction. Right? That was an interest of hers, when she was a child or when she was younger. And I don't know, and it's weird to me. I'm like, where did that understanding go? I mean, maybe you understand that the people in charge are up to no good and don't want to help you, but she doesn't really but she kind of leaves the door open to thinking that climate change is a hoax. She leaves that door open very wide for people that listen to her to think like, oh, it's all a bunch of hooey. And I'm like, wait, you should know it's not. That confuses me. And then who else? James Corbett is another one who talks all around climate change, all about things that are surrounding climate change that are very real. And then he gets to climate change and it's like, it's a bunch of hooey. I'm like, dude, you should know. You should know. You should absolutely know this is the thing that's really happening. And I find James Corbett's work very, really good. I find him to be very, incredibly intelligent and incredibly well read and well versed in so many subjects. But he's climate change. I'm like, how could you not know? I don't get it. Like you are operating with a big fat blind spot, and you're telling the people that listen to you that this is I don't get it. Anyways. Maybe one day all will be revealed. Okay. Thanks, guys. Thank you so much. I appreciate you. Thanks for your eyes, your ears, and your conscience. I forgot to let you know, if you want to support the show, not that way. I mean, you can go to Twitter and follow me at BlackBear, #1, BlackBear News, #1. BuyMeACoffee.com/BlackBear News. Cash App at Red Llama Music. Venmo at Kevin Sandbloom. PayPal.me/Kevin Sandbloom. And you can Zelle me at kevinsandbloom@protonmail.com. All right. Thanks, everyone. And until next time, peace.